Alrighty, there we go. So it is live time. It is now 9:23, which means if you are watching this and it is not 9:23, then you just want to scrub to the beginning of this. When that gets to 0, that's when the show will actually start. If you are watching live, stick around, and that'll hit 0, and then the show will start. Also, if there's a thing popping out up here, that's the real show. That's the one you really want to go see, so click on that one. Don't scrub to the forward. You know what to do. Hello, everybody. Good morning, greetings, salutations, all that good stuff. How you doing today? We are all ready for today's show. I hope you're ready for today's show. Oh, it's going to be an easy, fairly quick, and marginally entertaining one. You know how it goes. It's Friday. It's only so fun, so much funny you can be on a Friday. I have no idea. Yeah. How's everybody doing today? What do we got? The UK in the house. Who else is here? Who else is here today? Also, hey, let me know if the audio sounds good. Actually, I should probably adjust it here just a little bit. It's looking a little on the quiet side to me. I am under the belief that that is just a little bit quiet, so I'm going to raise it up just a little bit. Maybe just a little bit more. Looking at my levels there, I'm thinking that's a little bit better. Is that a little bit better? The audio is fine, Trevor says. Audio is fine. That's funny. You said BB. I don't quite know what that means, but that's like my wife's nickname for me is just BB, like baby, but shorter because, you know, baby's too long, so BB. It's actually written on the inside of my ring. So, Trevor, thank you. You're very sweet. But I don't think that's what you meant. Let's see here. So I just brought the audio. You're saying the audio was fine. I just brought it up a little bit. Did it get too loud, or is it still, it's okay? Actually, I'm seeing a tiny bit of peaking. Let me pull it back down just a little bit there, and let's see if that's any better. Monitoring here, trying to make sure my levels are all clean and good and happy. I got batteries everywhere. I've got recorders set up. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and start recording because, you know, it's never too early to start recording everything. And then I was ready to go. You're trying to write buddy. See, look, buddy, it's a BB. It just becomes a thing. It's like everything's shorter. Is it just me, or is it sometimes hard to type in the chat room? You start typing and you make all these mistakes. You're going, how did that? I know I'm a better typist than that. What just happened? The keyboard is dying. Ooh, brutal. All right. That is no bueno. Okay, we don't need that today. That's an easy one. Oh, let me get this system back up here. There we go. I even got the product page up today. You know, I always forget to bring the product page. I've even got that up today. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, look at that. We're at 0. In that case, let us have a show, shall we? Let's go to that, and there we go. We're good. All right, let's do it. On today's show, we're going to be talking about my new best friend, a magnetic filter holder. Good morning and welcome to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment, the first live 3 times a week show here at youtube.com/PhotoJoseph, all about things photo, video, sometimes live streaming related. And today we're talking about something that is both photo and video. Essentially, if you has camera, you probably are going to want one of these. So here's how this started. First of all, spoiler alert, we're talking about a magnetic filter holder, the ability to very quickly and easily attach your filter, any kind of filter, to your camera. And let me tell you the story of why I sought this out and was very happy to find that it existed. So when I'm shooting video, I'm almost always shooting with a variable ND filter. This is how I want to adjust exposure. Anyone out there who shoots video all the time, you know this. Using a variable ND is a great way to go. In fact, I did a video on variable NDs at some point. I'll link to that up here. So this is super convenient. But there are times when you've got to take the filter off. Namely, you go indoors, you go into somewhere that's a lower light situation where you want as much light as possible coming into the lens. You want to get rid of that ND filter. So, you know, you're like taking it off every time and then putting it back on. And, you know, maybe you're storing it in a shirt pocket. If you're going back and forth all the time, it's kind of it's a bit of a inconvenience. It takes time. There's always the risk of dropping it. You know, you're trying to thread that thing on while walking up the stairs out of the subway in Manhattan. You're going outdoors and you're trying to put it back on and you drop it and not good. Right, and this is exactly the situation that I was in. I've been across this many, many times, but in this case, I was in New York. I was vlogging. I was just shooting some video. And I was indoors in the subway, going outside, go back in, and so on. And I kept taking it on and off. And I'm thinking there's got to be a better way. Wouldn't it be awesome if there was a variable ND filter that just magnetically attached? I thought that would be really cool. And truth be told, the other feature that I really wanted, and I was thinking in my head, I want a variable ND filter specifically with a magnetic mount. And the other thing I want in my variable ND, tell me if you don't want this or not, is one that stops when you get to the minimum and maximum. So you don't just keep spinning around forever and ever. You know how if you go too far, the filter gets all weird and wonky looking? I wanted to stop. So I went to the video department at B&H and I said, hey, this is what I'm looking for. And the guy looked at me like I had 3 heads. He's like, no filter stops in the magnetic thing, no. And then the other guy listening, he overheard and he goes, go up to the photo department. I think they have something up there. Okay, so I go to the photo department, start talking to a chap up there. And he goes, I got good news and I got bad news. First of all, the stopping thing, nobody makes that as far as anybody knows. If anybody out there knows of one, tell me. I'd love to have that. But that magnetic thing, he goes, it's not built into the filter, it's an adapter. I go, ooh? He says, yeah, this way you can put any filter you want on it. So you can put your ND on there, you can put a polarizer on there, you put whatever you want. You buy a magnetic filter adapter, and then you put your filter on it. So let's take a look at what it is. I'm going to show you the page over on the B&H page. Obviously, it's available all over the place. Scroll down. There's a link down below. You can grab the link to it. It'll actually take you to a search result for it. It's called the Manfrotto Zoom, and so you can find the one that's for the size that you need. But anyway, so here's the product. Zoom, the one that I have is a 67 millimeter because that's basically the biggest that I use. And of course, as you undoubtedly know, if you want to have if you have lenses with multiple sizes, just buy a bunch of step-down adapters. You don't necessarily have to have filters and filter adapters for every single size. So anyway, so this is the starter kit. You get 2 parts. This is what I bought. You have the part that attaches to the camera itself, and then the part that attaches to the filter. And then you can see here there's a drop down to get a bunch of different sizes. They even make a lens cap, so you could have a magnetic lens cap because your original lens cap is probably not going to fit anymore. Even when you take this filter off, whatever filter you've got on there, it still probably isn't going to fit. So you've got that option, or maybe you just buy a regular lens cap that will attach over your filter. It's just up to you and your uses. I didn't buy any new lens caps. I just bought the adapters on there. So the way it works is really straightforward. I mean, it could not be any simpler. There are 2 parts to it. That part is stuck. There are 2 parts to it. There's the part that attaches to the camera itself. Very, very thin, very low profile. Very low profile, actually, which is quite good. Very thin on there, and you simply attach that to your camera, attach the other end of that to whatever filter you want. And incidentally, you would need one of these for your camera, for your lens, and then you could buy multiple of this end, multiple of the ones that go onto the filter, and so you don't have to take them off the filter as well. So if you're constantly swapping, let's say, between an ND and a polarizing filter, instead of having to screw those on and off, you just get multiples of these. You can buy them in separate parts or buy them as the kit like I did here. So this just goes on, and as you can see, it's about as straightforward and easy as it gets. So here, let me do this. I'm going to show you kind of just, it's very good. Like it's not going to grab, well, it kind of grabs it out of my hand, but it's a pretty good strong thing. And I don't have to get real, like I just do that and it's on, like boom. It's in place, it's in the right place. I just go and it's in. And it's pretty strong, right? Like I'm hitting it pretty hard there and it's not coming off, but that doesn't mean that you can't knock it off. And so that is something you do have to be careful of. It is conceivable, it hasn't happened to me, but it is conceivable that when you're carrying this around, you could bump it against something and knock your filter off. So that is something you want to be aware of. It is not as rigid as screwing it on, obviously, but it's just something to be aware of. So if you are constantly bumping your camera around, that's something to be concerned with. I usually carry my camera on when I'm shooting video, I'll often carry it on a belt attachment. And so I was concerned that it was going to get bumped and I was going to lose it. Walking around Manhattan for a few days, it did not happen, so that's good. I have not lost it, but it is a concern. The other thing that is interesting and is, I'm not going to call it a problem, but it does make me wish that the magnets were a little bit stronger in here. Let me go for a close-up here. And so first of all, let's talk about an advantage of this. You know, with a variable ND filter, so here's my filter, there's the dot that is the center point, and you know, you got your minimum and maximum. When you just screw this filter onto your lens, that dot never lines up with the top of it, right? Like maybe it's probably at the bottom or somewhere on the side, and you're like looking at it going, okay, I want to find the starting point, so I got to find the dot to start. Well, there's the dot today, and you line it up to the minimum, and then now you know your range. Now, because it's magnetic, it's free spinning, so you can put it wherever you want, which is actually really quite good, right? So I go in here, and I find my dot. Where's my dot? Let's see here. Where's the dot on the filter? Let's find that. It's somewhere on here. There it is. So there's the dot on the filter. I want to line that up at the top of the lens, so I put that on, and now my minimum and maximum lineup dot is right at the top, which is great, right? That's really cool. But here's the potential problem, and it is a little bit of a problem. So this one is spinning. It's spinning. But did you see the dot move? So I spin it, oop, did you see it move again? So depending on how hard you hold it, how you're spinning it, you could end up, and now I'm going to force it to go, but you could end up spinning the entire filter mechanism, so the magnetic part of it, and not actually rotating the filter. So it's something you'd have to be very cautious of, especially if you're trying to make a change to the filter during a shot. So if you're shooting live, you're actually recording, and you want to rotate the variable ND through a shot, for example, you're moving from indoors to outdoors, you want to do a rotation as you change scenes, change environments, then you do have to be aware that you may end up rotating the filter and not actually rotating the variable ND or the polarizer, whatever it is, but actually just spinning the two magnetic pieces against each other. I wish the magnet was stronger. That's the thing. If the magnet was considerably stronger, then it would probably not happen. But it's a minor complaint. Again, it hasn't been, I wouldn't call it a problem. It's been a minor annoyance, but I wouldn't say it was a problem. And again, the other risk being that you could knock it off, but that also has not been a problem. Overall, I think it's fantastic. It's been really, really convenient. I'm really glad that I bought it. And for those who are wondering, when I tweeted the pictures from B&H, this is what was in one of those bags. So yeah, I think it's a great product. I'm stoked on it. Hey, let's jump over to the Q&A portion of the show. If you are watching live, you know what to do. Drop questions into the Q&A, put at PhotoJoseph in front of them. If you're not watching live, just drop your questions later on in a comment anywhere, and I'll do my best to get to them. And as always, if you want to support the show, the best way to do that is to head over to photojoseph.com/support and consider joining as a member. That's probably the most fun way to do it, where we have all kinds of good stuff that we get as members of photojoseph.com, including access to a very small, private, exclusive Facebook group where I am directly involved, and you're most likely to get your questions answered from me quickly in there. So there's that. All right, let's head over to the Q&A. We'll see you over there in just a moment. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment. We are in the Q&A portion of the show. We're talking about this Manfrotto Zoom, X-U-M-E, Zoom magnetic adapter. It's kind of cool, kind of funky, and I see there's some comments. Trevor says, I had been planning to buy Zoom, but then they were bought by Manfrotto. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So Zoom used to be its own company, and then that was bought by Manfrotto. Oh, interesting. I did not know that. Okay. But so you're not happy that they're bought by Manfrotto? Well, I don't know what to tell you there. I really like Manfrotto products. I've got quite a few bigger, heavier tripods, expensive, made in Italy ones, and the cheaper ones made in China, which obviously aren't as good. But I've been really happy with all my Manfrotto products. So, Tom Wedge is asking, are these filters stackable? So, the filter, remember, that's not a filter itself. We're not talking about the filter itself here. It's just the holder. I wish I could take that piece off, but I can't. It is really stuck on there. And that is likely because the filter that I've screwed it into is not the greatest quality filter in the world. Anyway, you could stack filters on top of the filter that you have on here. So like I've got an ND. If I wanted to put a red filter for some reason on there, and I could do that. But that's stacking to the filters themselves. It has nothing to do with the magnetic mount. Now, how many filters you could stack on there before they just fell off from pure weight, I don't know. I certainly wouldn't go too carried away with it. But basically, I mean, look at it this way. The attachment that's on here that screws into the lens will screw into anything that has those threads. So I could put a filter on this. Let's say I wanted to put a skylight filter on my lens, and then put the magnetic filter on top of that, and then have my ND or polarizer or whatever on the other end of the magnetic, that I can swap that on and off while leaving the skylight filter on the lens. You just have to make sure the skylight filter has receiving threads on its outside side. Does that make sense? So that you can screw in another filter. Otherwise, that's it. I don't think there's any other necessity in there. That's pretty much straightforward. If that's not quite what you meant, let me know. Trevor says the prices went up. You need a lot of adapters. Oh, did they go up? That's too bad. I mean, needing a lot of them. Remember, so I bought the 67 millimeter because it's the biggest filter that I generally use. This is the 8 to 18 millimeter. That's what I kind of base my filter size off of. I can take this and step it down to a smaller lens and then attach this to that, which is what I was doing before without the magnetic adapter, without the zoom adapter, just taking the filter and stepping it down. So there's no difference. You can still do that other than wanting to have multiple, I don't know if you'd call it the male or female end, but I guess it'd be the male end, multiple male ends of this, which would be great. So you have those on multiple filters, you can certainly do that. One thing to consider too is once you put the adapter onto the filter, if you're storing them in your filter boxes that they came in, they may not fit anymore. Like this, it doesn't latch anymore. So just, little things like that. But if you've got a filter pouch that you're storing them in, it's probably no big deal. Incidentally, if you're looking for the step-down rings, I'll link to some of those down below as well. Trevor says, video guys use them to quickly move an ND between lenses, so each lens needs a receiving adapter. Oh, okay, there you go. So that's another way to do it. Right, if you are buying really good quality ND filters, and spending a couple $100s on them, and you only want to have the one that you move between lenses, then yes, that's a great way to do it. In which case, you would need to have multiple receiving ends on each lens, and then you could swap it between it. I like that. That's really good. Oh, I see Trevor also said you've never heard of these just falling off. That's good. A good number of video guys use these. Yeah, there you go. I'm digging it. Yeah, it's not the cheapest thing in the world. Okay, admittedly, $50 for these two rings, but It's probably help if I put this piece on. It's Manfrotto. I'd like to think that means it's decent quality. Again, like I said earlier, my Manfrotto stuff I'm all very happy with. And yeah, it's been working for me quite well. Any other questions in here? It doesn't look like it. No other questions, then you can. If we don't get another question here real quick, we're going to call it a day and get on out of here. I'm going to give you like a 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm counting down verbally, but counting up on my hands. You like that neat trick? It's like a walking and chewing gum at the same time. Okay, no one else has any questions, in which case we are going to wrap it up. That is the show. Thank you very much, everybody. So next week, oh yeah, I know I was telling you guys on Wednesday that I was going to do the video today, kind of trick some of you, on I always keep forgetting the name of it. The port key adapter monitor, the reason I haven't yet is it's still not listed at B&H. I don't want to do a show on it until you can actually go out and get it. I've had this for a little while. It's supposed to be on B&H. Like, it's one of those any day now. I keep checking, it isn't there. So I'm not going to do a show until it is. But hopefully that will get up there soon, and we will do that. All right, guys, that's it. Now I'm out of here. Take care of yourselves. Have a good weekend. See you next week. Bye-bye.